Hey guys, welcome. Hey everybody. Yo, you click on a Zerg video, you want to learn how to play Zerg better? Well, guess what? We're gonna figure that out right now. God damn it, KiwiMar.
ViBE's macro 5SD is not interrupted 5SD by Winds of Fate 5SD. A move his base. Static D, rotate drones.
Yo, KWI Mar, thank you very much for the bits. ViBE's macro 5SD is not interrupted, but his intro is. I don't really care. You're totally fine. I'm just giving you shit. Thank you very much for the support, man. Hey guys, how you doing? Welcome to another replay analysis.
How do you play Zerg, ViBE? I'd like to know.
Thank you very much. Hey guys, welcome to another replay analysis with me, Mr. ViBE. We're doing a Zerg player today, and his name is Dead Baby Seal. This is a diamond level game. We're going to be jumping right into it. Right away, Zerg versus Protoss. He's playing a barcode. This guy's probably really good. Anyone who's with a barcode is actually elite. So, the way replay analysis works is we look at our player's perspective, and we see what they're doing right, what they're doing wrong. We basically yell at them for 25 minutes, and then we move on. So, Dead Baby Seal, how much are you going to get yelled at today? StarCraft 2 is a game of not making mistakes, and we'll see how many you make. So far, you haven't fucked up yet. Good job. So far, so good. Okay, we have a nice Overlord placement. I like it a lot. You should be pulling a drone off right now. Ooh, you haven't made a mistake yet. Dead Baby Seal. Cruising. Oh, okay. So when you see this, don't wait on the probe. Just be like, just literally do like a drive-by. Just be like, hey, probe. Literally, I want you to do this. When a probe gets to your base like that really fast, it means he like ripped his probe off really, really early. So he's fucking his own economy, and I need you to do this, okay? Whenever that probe does that to you, I want your drone to replicate this maneuver. Go like this. Just go right by. Just give him the finger. Go right by. Take your third base as your natural. Don't fuck around and waste time at your natural trying to be like, excuse me, I'd like to build a base here. No, just fucking do the drive-by. Just be like, all the way down to your third base. Don't waste time. Because if he builds a pylon now, which he probably will, I would say 90% chance Protoss has built a pylon when they effectively do this to you. Now, he's the one like this. He builds a pylon and he's running away from you like this. As, you know. What is wrong with this chair? It fell over the other day, too. Like, you're giving him the advantage to give you the finger now. Don't let him do that to you. Okay? Don't let him do that to you. Give him the finger, and you take your third as your natural, because look what's happening. You got to do it anyways. You might as well just do it faster than later. And now what's going to happen is there's a chance he might go to your third. Okay, he's just going home now. He doesn't care. He could have maybe gone to your third and built a pylon there too. That is actually very possible. There are some Protosses who do that. They're like, you know what? One pylon blocked you. How about two? How about three? How about four? And eventually your natural ends up being at his fucking third base. So don't let that happen. Don't be that Zerg player. Just prevent this from happening to you in the first place and move on with your life. Okay. Okay. And now he's cannon rushing you. That's fine. Let's see how you react. This cannon rush looks mostly like Immortal, I would say. Because here's why. He has no control of the high ground on the ramp. He does, however, have control of the low ground of the ramp, and it is too far forward to be a macro cannon rush. These cannons are very susceptible to being broken by a drone pull if you went for drones, but like he wouldn't really give a shit too much about that because I mean, you know, you have no follow-up pressure to that. So it's whatever. But I imagine there's going to be a robo thrown down like right there. Like not right now, but eventually. Because you have to tech to a robo, so it's you don't make it right away. It's not as fast as a gateway. So yeah, like I imagine there will be a robo here. This looks like a robo, so I feel like the fact that you're pulling a drone right now, I don't agree with it. I don't understand why you're doing this. I don't like it. If you go...
Shameless plug. Don't forget to like the video and subscribe to ViBE lol. It really helps out the channel.
Thank you very much, Jarhead. Appreciate you, man. Yeah, I don't like this second drone because this is not macro cannon rush-esque. This is immortal-esque. Macro cannon rush style would be like the pylon and cannons would be back here to where he could guaranteed get the cannons up with building placement, and that's it. There's no support for the cannons. And then also he's not cannon rushing your third base either, which is another sign that it's not a macro cannon rush. I imagine there is and then here's the final nail in the coffin, okay? This is before you've even built the third base. Look at his... Okay, wait. Who's going to happen first? You could build it right now. Right now, okay. So, okay, now. This is more macro cannon rush-esque. So now I would say I would agree with the drone that is over here. And now you're lucky that you did it. So this is fucking weird. This makes no sense. This is awful. People do weird shit all the time. I swear to God. Yeah. This guy... let me just tell you right now why what the Protoss did doesn't make any fucking sense at all. If you... Okay. Would have killed your... the cannons here. If you would have killed these cannons here with drones, you could have easily also killed these cannons because of the way he builds them. He builds them exposed as fuck. And you could have actually denied his cannon rush entirely if you did this. But here's the thing though, is you don't know it's a macro. You do not know it's a macro cannon rush. But if you did do that, he's very open to just losing his shit right away. And then you just save your bases and you just make drones. And you know, if you need to, you can make some lings, but you just save your drones, and it's ridiculous. It's not great for Protoss. And this is really easy to deny the cannons because they're closer to your drones. They're exposed as fuck, and they're not that far away from the drone line. Further up here means they're further away from the drone line, and they're also covered by mineral SimCity. Like, surface area is reduced. So, not great by the Protoss. This is kind of sloppy by him, I would say. This is risky. It's like hoping you don't do anything about it, and that's okay that you didn't. I think it's fine that you didn't pull your drones. I think you should have. But now I would say because you put your drone down here, this looked robo-esque at first. I'm going to back up and see how your Overlord pathing moves. How long does it take your Overlord to move? Yeah, it takes your Overlord a while. This is why also it kind of fucks you over a little bit. Watch your Overlord. Watch your Overlord. Okay? Look at this. Watch this. So you see he pylons you. That's fine. You make a third. I would say already, the second that this happens, right now, and he lets it finish, okay, you should already be moving towards your third. Because why do you have your Overlord over the natural? Because you don't want to get cannon rushed at your natural. So this is already looking like it's more than just annoying. Like, you should have honestly probably moved your Overlord to your third right away the second you had the idea to go build it there. Like, as soon as the drone got pulled off the middle line, the extra drone that you have, you know, because you had two drones running by the probe for a second, you should have definitely just, like, went for it. Just fucking go for it. Like, with the Overlord pull, I mean. And then your Overlord could be checking everything at your third right away. Because your Overlord didn't even know that this was being cannoned until he built cannons at it. Like, he already had the pylon done. So I'd say your Overlord was maybe pulled a little bit late. And if your Overlord got pulled a little earlier and you would have saw the pylon as it was building, rather than the... if you would have saw the pylon as it was building over here because you pulled your Overlord faster, like you pulled your Overlord right away as you send your drone to go take the third at your third. So honestly, even before this pylon's finished, you just, as soon as you take this third, just send your Overlord to your third. Because your Overlord sat here for how long? Let's look at how long it sat here. Watch this shit. Just watch. It stops moving at 105. And how long does it take to before it moves again? I would say it started moving at maybe 129. Like 2 seconds ago, because I have it on times 8. It like just started moving. So 105 to like 129. That's a long time that you could have had. Like the Overlord could already be like right there, for instance. You know what I mean? If you had all that time to move still. And that would mean that you would see this pylon way earlier in the production of it. And if you saw that, that would guarantee you're getting macro cannon rushed, and your response could then be pulling off another drone before these cannons are done, and you could have this base or whatever. And that is a correct response because of a macro cannon rush. But the fact that you do it blindly is scary for you. And the reason why I say that is because this could be Immortals. And if you double expand versus an Immortal rush, you are going to die. You cannot afford double expansions against Immortal pushes. You'll just fucking die. Like, you'll have so much larva sitting there because you can't afford it, and then and if you do spin the larva because you make drones with it, you'll just die. And if you don't spin the larva, it's just inefficient as fuck, and it weakens your roach defense because it's so expensive to do that. I agree with the roach warren though. Wait, what? No. Never do that. Never do this. Ever. Never ever. Let me explain. Every time you cancel a hatchery, that's 75 minerals that you throw away. Every time he makes a pylon, that pylon's going to die eventually. That's 100 minerals he's going to throw away in the future. Not right now, though. You throw it away immediately. He throws it away in the future. So I would say the pylon being made and the hatchery getting canceled is about an even trade. Just that alone. Because it's 100 later and 75 now. It seems somewhat even. And later is not like, oh, 10 minutes. We're talking like maybe 4.5 minutes. It's not that much later. However, if he makes cannons, now you're the one who gets the lead here. Especially if they finish, because it's 150 that's just sitting there then. But if he cancels it, he still loses 37 minerals per cannon. Okay? And that is better for you. However, never do this. Watch what you do. Ready? Cancel it, which I would say is the correct choice. Because your roach warren is nowhere even fucking remotely close to being done. But he cancels his cannons, and then you rebuild it. Never ever rebuild it. Ever. Because essentially what's happened now is you have wasted 75 minerals, and he wasted 74 minerals on the 2 cannons. And now he's just going to rebuild cannons when you rebuild the hatchery. This is actually not good for you. Like, you are actually taking worse trades here. Especially if this guy doesn't do 2 cannons, he just does 1. The fact, also, by the way, for the Protoss, if you're a Protoss player, just throwing it out there really quickly. If you're a Protoss player and a Zerg ever cancels their hatchery, and you're macro cannon rushing like this, don't ever make 2 cannons as fast as he did. Don't ever do that. Make 1 cannon. And try to let 1 cannon finish as the hatchery finishes. And if the hatchery finishes, start a 2nd cannon. Don't ever start 2 cannons like that and then cancel both of them as well. Because ideally what you want to have happen is you want 1 cannon to just be there to deny the fact that the Zerg can expand there. You don't want to have double cancels. It's stupid. And now he's going to have to remake cannons again. But it's bad for both of you, is all I can say. Like, it's not good for him, but it's also not good for you. Like, I would say it's worse for you, to be honest, if you just let the pylon already be here and now you build it in its face again. Because you're going to have to cancel it again if he makes it at 1 cannon, which is an even worse trade for you. The last one was a little bit of a worse trade for you. This one's a really bad trade for you if he just makes 1 cannon. Because canceling it is not ideal. You don't want to keep canceling. Like, you should have built this hatchery even. I don't know why. Yeah, you're going to have to cancel it again. This is not intelligent. The fact that you force 2 cannons, and if he cancels both of them, you might think that's a good trade for you, but it's actually worse. Because you're wasting so much fucking time. Like, look at this. Your real natural is 13 seconds to the way in. His natural is 48. You're actually behind in economy. Overall. This is not ideal. And you can see you're also losing more than he is. Like, expand around it and make him make more pylons. That's a bigger investment for him. You could have made him make like 4 pylons. If he's going to cannon rush you that much. Cancel the hatchery and then build over here. Cancel the hatchery, build over here. Cancel the hatchery, build over here, or whatever. Okay. The fact that you also have double gas is incorrect right now. Yo, Air Viper, thank you very much for the sub, dude. Welcome for the Prime. Appreciate you, man. How early did you take a double gas? This is really, 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 really bad. That's so early. Oh my god, that's so early. You took a double gas at like 2 minutes. Like 2:10 is exactly when you took it. You took the second gas? Like as you took the Roach Warren. Oof. That's a oof right there. Oof. That's really bad. You want to know why that's really bad? Double gas does not pair with double expand. It's either single expand, double gas, or it's double expand, single gas. Or what did I say the same thing twice? It's double gas, single expand, or double expand, single gas. Yeah, that's what I meant to say. I don't know if I just said the same thing twice the first time. But yeah, it's yeah, you guys get what I mean. You don't go double expand, double gas. That's not what you do. That is inefficient as fucking hell. And the reason why you go double gas is because you are fighting against immortals or stalkers. You can clearly see this is not stalkers for 2 reasons. One reason is there's no proxy gateway at your base, which is not a stalker-friendly cannon rush. So he has no control over the ramp, which is fucking awful for stalkers. The other reason why he's not going stalkers is because his cannons are placed too far back. So no gateway and cannons are too far away from the ramp. He has no control of the ramp, which means stalkers suck balls here if you go stalkers. So there's no stalkers. However, his cannons are placed in a very immortal-friendly location. I would say maybe a little bit further back would be perfect for immortals. If like the cannon was there and the cannon was there, that would be amazing for immortals because then you could just control the low ground of the ramp and you couldn't hit him at all from the high ground, which is what you can do right now. But and then also the only way you really can shoot the cannons is if you came down to the bottom of the ramp, which he can shoot you at with his immortals. That would be an amazing immortal location. But this is still immortal-ish. It's out of range of the high ground from auto attacks. You have to actually commit to the ramp to a degree to shoot him. But you can still do it from the high ground to the ramp, which is still bad for him if he goes immortals here. This is not an intelligent place to put them. It should be like, again, there, and the pylon should be like right there. But, it looks immortal-ish from this location. But you've confirmed it's not because you see the pylon over here. And you see the location of his wall here, which indicates he wants to expand. This tells you it's not immortals. Also, you can see his gateway is late as fuck. This is not a priority. His priority is to cannon rush you multiple times, not to take really fast gateway. If this was going to be immortals, it should look like this. Pylon, gateway, or like fucking whatever. Like a wall here, forge, gateway, pylon. He could literally have this walled off. And then over here, he could be starting a core behind it, or he could just go pylon, forge, make the gateway here with the robo, like the gateway in the back, and then make the core over here to finish off the wall, and then make the robo. The fact that the gateway's late as fuck, and the fact that he's walling off the front of his natural, not his main base only, it tells you this is a macro cannon rusher. So you should not be going double gas. There's no nexus yet, but there's 100% going to be one. Like, if you thought there was going to be a really fast robo here or really fast stalkers here, I would ask you why. This is delayed, super fucking delayed gateway. Super, super, super delayed gateway. And also, again, the location of the wall is in front of the natural, which means he's securing himself a natural already. So this is definitely a macro cannon rush. So double gas makes no sense. Double expand does make sense, but double gas makes no sense. And that's exactly why you don't actually expand super fast, is because you prioritize double gas. And watch your mineral line as you make Ravagers now and Roaches. You rip off. This is really bad response to a macro cannon rush because you're fucking your money up and you need money. You need to make drones right now. Like, you need to make 3 Ravagers max and make nothing but drones. And then you're fucking around with his cannons over here way too much, again, like we talked about already. And then he confirmed it now to you. There comes the core, super late core, and there's the Nexus. The fact that you're still mining gas tells me, like, I would ask you, like, why? Like, do you know, like, I don't know if you knew what we just talked about, but you already, here's the thing too. You already made 3 Ravagers. You could have made these 3 Ravagers easily off of 1 gas and stopped there. Like, stopped with the Ravagers after 3. And your gas would not be too crazy. You could even rip 2 drones off of the gas and stay on 1 out of 3 after you have 3 Ravagers. You could totally do that too. That would explode your minerals even harder, so you could go crazy on Drone, Queen, Hatchery, and Overlord, which are all pure mineral costs. But watch your gas right now. It's going to explode absurdly fast, and you're going to feel forced to spend it. And my question would be, why? Like, what the fuck is important about spending your gas on right now? It makes no sense. You have a lot of gas. You shouldn't have any gas really right now. And you're going to go for a layer. I know you went for a layer. What are you going to do with this layer? What's so important about getting a layer? You're going to not be able to afford anything out of the layer, so I'm very concerned for you right now. Also, here's another thing too. Placement. Whenever somebody goes for a macro cannon rush, do not expand really far away from your bases. Like, you should not have taken this base. You should have taken this base. If it's a macro cannon rush, you want to expand as close as possible that is not getting cannon rushed to your base. If it's a immortal all-in, then I would have been like, yeah, this makes more sense, because now his immortals would have to walk further away from the proxy to get here. That's fine. But if you expand far away versus a macro cannon rush, it makes no fucking sense, because now his pressure that he can follow up the macro cannon rush with can do more damage to you more likely, because you're further exposed now. You're more exposed than you should be. Like, this base is so isolated versus someone who's playing standard now behind a cannon rush. Look at all this gas. Look at all those little minerals. What do you get now? Your layer's done at like 504. What are you going to do with it? What's so important about rushing this layer? Look at your larva. You have 6 larvae just sitting there. You can't really afford to spin it very well because you have 700 fucking gas. Now you have 11 larvae. You have 750 gas. You have 12 larvae. You have almost 800 gas. What are you doing with the layer? You still have 12 larvae. You have almost 900 gas. You have almost 1,000 gas. See what I mean though? Like, why the fuck is there an emphasis on your gas versus a macro cannon rush? And why would you keep mining it after your 3 Ravagers when your whole goal is 100% mineral expenses? And now all that's doing to you is it's really depleting your minerals repeatedly. And you have so much larva that you can't spend. And you have 1,000 fucking gas that you're not doing anything with right now. Resaturate your gas once you have like 45 drones or something, and you can actually utilize still making your larva, but then adding in gas cost to it, and you can still spend all your larva. Right now you're mining too much gas to where it's not allowing you to spend all your larva because you can't even afford to spend your money on the larva because you have all this fucking gas that you're doing nothing with right now. And if you then also, even furthermore, if you did make like a Spire right now, or like more Ravagers, or a Hydrogen, whatever, if you actually spent your gas and it spent your money with the gas, I'd be like, that's even more wrong. Because now your drone count, instead of being 36, it would be like 29 and Aspire. That's fucking terrible. You're just mining gas for no reason, is the whole problem here. That's really ruining your build. Like, hardcore. Now you have 1,100 gas, and you still have done nothing with the layer for like 3 minutes. There you go, there's a Spire. And I'm thinking you're making the Spire because you go, well, fuck me, right? Like, I might as well. I have a lot of gas. That's really bad. It's really, really, really bad. Because if you ever think about it like this, if you go, you know what's nice? Banking up gas to eventually just go mass metas with. No, that's not nice. at all. And the reason why is because you have missed so much. Again, same problem as always, as every Zerg. You have missed so much larva at this point in time. You're starting a Spire at 735, and when the Spire's done, I imagine you're only going to be able to afford to make like 7 mutas by probably like 830. Okay, that's my guess. 830, 7 mutas. Maybe 845. Now, if you just prioritized your minerals, saturated your base, mineral line, saturated your mineral line, saturated your mineral line, took a 4th base because you had so much money, and then exploded your gas all at once. You just have 4 bases going on like 5 bases by almost 8 minutes because you have a lot of money. And then you make a Spire. You could make a Spire at the same time you did this game. You could start it at the same time you did this game and make mutas at the same time you did this game. But instead of making 7 mutas or so off of the back of like, what, 55 drones, you could have made like 15 mutas off of the back of like 75 drones. And then you're making mutas at a faster pace from that point on for the rest of the game. Your gas priority and your layer priority and your 12 larvae repeatedly sitting there and 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 sitting there fucked you over really, really bad. You have very, very poorly timed build right now. And now your Protoss opponent's going to keep up with you in supply because of this. You should not. This is not good for Zerg. The Protoss is going for Sky Toss out of a Cannon Rush, and yet he's still really close to you in supply. That is fucking terrible for Zerg. Look at that larva. I am not a fan of that larva. And look, like I said, around 8:30, 8:45, you're going to be able to afford probably like 7 mutas. And look what you can afford. 6.5. This is awful. This is such a like, it's just, again, it's inefficient is all it is. The gas ruined your life. This gas being mined the whole time ruined your fucking life. Because you're doing full mineral expenses and you're just letting this fat gas bank just build. And right now, think about this. We're talking about 7 drones, okay? 7 drones. And where am I getting 7 drones from? The second gas being built and both gases being fully saturated. That is 7 drones. 7 drones that were utilized in the gas early game that did not need to be. And you already knew he was macro cannon rushing you at that point. 7 drones. And we're talking about back then, your total economy was about 22 drones. So imagine, what is 7 out of 22 percentage-wise? And you let it build from that point on the whole game. 7 out of 22 is like 30%? Like 29%, I think? Somewhere around there. That's a fucking massive amount of your minerals. That's a lot of money. And all that does is it repeatedly, and then you also invested into the layer, which is expensive as well. All that does is it slows down your whole build because, again, it has cascading effects. It's not just like, well, it's always forever going to just be 29% of my economy, and that's all it does. Like, it's not the end of the world. It's still pretty fucking big, but it's not the end of the world. But what that does is it, like, again, it forces you to have larva cap, larva cap, larva cap, larva cap. I can't spend my larva. I can't spend my larva. I still have 15 fucking larva. I can't spend it. I can't spend it. You're not generating larva. That's drones that are being just deleted from the game because they don't ever just, like, the larva isn't there anymore. It's just not available. You don't spawn larva anymore at that point. So that's future units you don't have, which should be drones right now because you have 53. And you only have 53 by almost 9 minutes. Now, yes, granted, there was a cannon rush and you had to make 3 Ravagers. But all that really was to you was maybe like that realistically, that cannon rush that hit you where he cannon rushed 2 bases should have been like a 45-second, maybe up to 1 minute hiccup in your build. And I'm going to tell you right now, you could totally be at 53 drones in your build with a 1 minute hiccup by probably 5:45. Because you could be there realistically like 4:45 with no hiccup. Maybe like 5 minutes. So maybe 6 minutes instead. Like right around there. You're here at 8:42. You're almost 3 minutes later than what you should be at right now. Your build is so far behind. Don't mind gas. You have to just understand what your opponent's going to do. And you have to really prioritize resources with what you're going to do. And you countered greed with greed, but you didn't play greedy. You played gas heavy, which is focused on tech or all in, and you didn't really do either. You rushed your tech and did nothing with it. And I wouldn't have wanted you to do anything with your tech anyways, because that's fucking terrible. If you rush the Spire with a low economy versus someone who rushes a defensive Stargate, and he just makes fucking Phoenix or Void Ray over shield batteries and cannons, you're not going to kill anything. You're just going to be like, well, I have like 28 drones versus like 44 probes, and he's already got a Stargate versus my Spire. This is not great. But like now look, you're behind in supply of Protoss, and he's rushing the Sky Toss. This is awful for a Zerg. This should not happen. This should not happen to you. This just proves that your build is very inefficient. You right now should be at like probably 140 supply, 130 supply. Even if you're going mutas. At like 9.5 minutes. It's so far behind. And now you're going double Evo Roach Hydra. Okay. Your economy blows. And you made mutas. And you, like you're going Roach Hydra and you make this before the muta. Your build's just, I don't understand. It's chaos. Let me throw some things out there that might make sense and make things more relevant and make people understand what I mean. You never stop mining gas. You rushed a layer really fucking fast. You also opened mutas before anything else after the Ravagers. It would have made sense if that was your plan. If you're going to keep mining gas, you're going to rush a layer, and you're going to make mutas after Ravagers. It would have made sense if that was your plan to make the mutas as fast as possible after the layer. Now, am I saying that's efficient? Fuck no. Because, like I already explained why. If he opens Stargate and you saw that, and you go, you know what I'm going to do? A really low economy muta priority. That's not great versus a Stargate. Low economy mutas does not beat Stargate opener. It's kind of how life works. Like 5 mutas doesn't beat 3 Phoenix. That could also be supported by cannon battery with like double your economy. That's not a good time for mutas. But it would have made sense though if you would have done a gas priority and made a Spire faster because your priority was going for mutas. It would have made sense to make the mutas faster then, and as soon as they spawn, not to sit there with them and go attack right away because you're trying to hit a window of time where you can like kill probes or something. That's how it would have made the most sense. If the build doesn't make sense as a whole because he opened up Stargate, I would say don't even fucking do it. Don't go low economy mutas versus someone who opens up Stargate defensive. Now, on top of that, why would you invest into a speed of like double Evo chamber Roach Warren? Like you already had the Roach Warren, but you made a second one. But whatever. I think you're just doing automated beta GM now. Why would you go for Hydra upgrades and do other gas expenses and then make mutas and have mutas sit here? Defeats the whole fucking purpose of mutas. It also defeats the whole purpose of a fast layer. Like your build has no plan is what I can see here. It's just random. You have to have some type of a plan. If you're going to go mutas, you commit to mutas. You don't just make them and go, we're chilling. All right, boys, grab a drink. Let's sit on some creep. Let's just wait for a while. Because, like, you fucked your whole build up so hard for this right here. Your build is paced 3 minutes slow because of this. And the only way that makes sense is if you slow his build down by doing damage to him. But it doesn't make any sense at all. I'm just going to throw that again. It makes no fucking sense. I really want you to know that. I don't want you to think that it would make sense if you just attacked. It would make sense in the fact that it would show you have a plan involved. It could be a bad plan, but it's still a plan. But this proves there is no plan if you rush mutas like this, and then you just do nothing with them. You sit there. They just chill. Like, don't fucking go mutas.
Mineral field depleted. Mutation complete.
And you're still making mutas while you're already pre-switching into Hydras. Don't make mutas. This is not how you play mutas. At all. Mutas need to be active They're not something you sit back on and max out on and then just do an A move. That is not how mutas work. They're very, very weak units. They're fragile, but they do a lot of damage through mobility. So you need to be active with them. If you A move his army with mutas, when you max out, I honestly am, what I'm going to see is the Protoss is going to lose like 20 supply and you're going to lose like 100. Yeah, this is not how you, go Roach Hydra. This is not how you play Muta. Like this is gonna, now you finally got the 80 drones, but it took you forever. You're still on par with the Protoss' supply, and Mutas trade like shit. Like this is a whole. I'm gonna throw it out there and say this is a whole other category of analysis. This would take me a long time to explain, but just know if your economy of your opponent is relatively similar to your economy as well, and you're both going something, like he's going whatever he wants to go, and you're going mutas, you're going to die. Mutas don't win unless it's one of two situations. One, your opponent has no money. That is how mutas win. Or number two, your opponent has an army that can't fight back. Like mass tanks, or mass zealots, or mass adepts, or what mass zerglings, roaches. If your opponent has an army that can't fight back, or his economy sucks ass compared to yours, that is the only two times mutas are good. If you let your opponent have as much economy as he wants, and he goes sky toss, and you go muta, and you just want to take a fight against his army, dude, watch this. I'm going to predict your supply losses. I already did, but I'm going to watch out his supply whenever you max out and move. I do think you're going to lose a lot. You're going to lose a shitload, and he's going to lose very little. I just want to see what he's at in supply before the fight starts. Okay, your mutas are moving out. He's basically maxed out. You're going to lose, like, with this army, you're going to lose, like, 50 supply, roughly. Like, 40, 50 supply. He's going to lose, like, 4. Or, like, maybe like 10 supply. You're going to lose, like, 45, 50. He'll lose, like, 10. You're going to take a trade that's, like, 1/5 as good as his. So you get in here, you start poking probes, he shows up, you killed, what, 2 probes there? Did you kill probes before that? I don't think you just killed 6 right there. Did you? You killed 5 there, you killed 1 already. So you killed 5 probes right there, you killed 5. 5 probes is what you netted right there. And you lost the muta for it. Losing 5, or having the Protoss lose 5 probes to you losing a muta is not that bad for Protoss. That's actually kind of a wash, I feel like. It would mean more, like those 5 probes to a muta would mean more if he only right now if he only had like 32 or something. That would be really good then. But losing 5 probes when you have like 70 plus is very replaceable, especially since he's also on 4 fucking Nexus. He can replace that like that. And losing a muta, losing gas at this point in the game is more impactful. You don't want to lose your gas. Gas is important. Now what do you do with your units again? And I don't think you're macroing at all while you do this. You have 20. I mean, you have 200 supply. I'm happy about that. But are you injecting? Lots of energy. Are you injecting? Lots of queens. Here's the thing, too. Okay, let me explain this, too. I skipped this point. You made a fuckload of queens to deal with Skytoss. Now, again, my question would be, why the layer rush if you're going to make queens like this? Why rush a layer to go for a fast spire if you're going to have queens to supplement the defense? Like, again, queens, going queen crazy early on is expensive as fuck. Going for a layer really fast and mining a lot of gas is expensive as fuck. Making queens to deal with low amounts of target units early on in the game is very doable. So why overkill it and go for a spire and like try to, you know, like have the ability to go for earlier mutas? Like it makes no sense at all. You're making the queens for the purpose of not dying to the Stargate. So why overkill it and make the spire too? Like that fast. You're just completely misunderstanding the concept of a good economy. This game's economy was fucking terrible. I'm sorry. Dead baby seal. It just, yeah. There was no redeeming the economy in this game. So many queens, dude. You have 12 queens. And again, that would have been good. That would have been great if you just stopped mining gas and you prioritized Queen, Drone, Hatchery, Overlord. That would have been amazing. And then you could have made mutas like you did anyways now, and you could have made them at a lot faster of a pace. You would have maxed out a lot sooner than like 14 minutes. 13:30 or whatever it was you maxed out on. This would not be your max. You would max out at like fucking 9.5, 10 minutes.
Are under attack.
Oi. So now what are your mutas doing?
Mineral field depleted. Our forces are
So they fly into his base. You kill more probes. That was a nice kill into probes. You're getting caught by the carriers. You're running away. Again, mobility. This is you're using mutas correctly, at least now. You're running away from his army, killing workers. You're understanding the concept that mutas need to kill economy to be effective. But you've allowed him to get to maxed out Sky Toss in the process before you've even started doing this. Which means you kind of already missed the window for mutas to be good because they sat around for the first... Like, you rushed the layer, but then you didn't make them for like 7 minutes when you could have. Like, you could have used them for like a full 7-minute window of time. Which is a lot of time in this game. You should be running away from his army again. You're killing probes. Well done. Run away again. Honestly, that's a nice opportunity to kill the Templar. I would say, let me go back and watch that to when I think that was good to when it was bad. Right now, good. We'll just talk about this. Good. 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 Run the fuck away right now. Run away right now. As soon as the interceptors and void rays start engaging you, take whatever damage you just did and get the fuck out of there. And the reason why is because if you auto attack, a lot of the interceptors are going to be taking a lot of the hits from the mutas. You're not going to just focus fire the Templar here anymore. The interceptors will take damage too here, a lot of it. They'll take the initial hit a lot of the time as well because they're flying into your mutas. Your mutas will target them. The only way you would kill the Templar here is if you focus fired the Templar. And the reason why it's kind of hard to do that is because they're directly under your mutas. So you might, if you focus fire A move that, you might even click your own muta on accident. It would just make more sense. The odds of you fucking this up are very high. The odds of you losing your units here are very high. And you've already killed like half of his Templar here, or like a third of the Templar. I think he had like 8 or 9. Now he only has 5. You could just run away because now his interceptors and voiders are engaging and you're probably not going to kill much more here. And you're going to lose 17 mutas that are all really healthy still. And if you ran away, you could go like this. Like, run up, over, re-engage the main, take another pass on his mineral lines again. Like, take him on another pass. Kill more economy. But watch how much shit dies. Let's look at this Templar. From this point on, right now, how many Templar are going to die? For 17 mutas. You killed 3 more Templar at the end of that. You killed 3 Templar to lose 17 mutas. That is a ridiculously bad trade for you. It started really good, but you got impatient and you rushed it and you threw your army away. So you traded 450 gas for the Protoss for 1,700 of your own when you could have gotten out and lost maybe 1 muta or 0 at the 17 point when his carriers got close enough to engage you. So that's fucking brutal.
A creature is mineral field depleted.
Also, if you don't even control these queens and you just let them sit at your hatcheries like this is terrible too, because this is so much supply that's doing nothing. They're just literally, it's like a pseudo max. You really only need like 3 queens injecting at this point with this many hatcheries. If you're going for like a Spire style, which is very expensive, and you have like 9 queens that are honestly literally standing around. You have 3 queens there, you have 1 queen there, you have 3 queens there. Like, you have a lot of queens just chilling around. Like, we're talking extra queens, by the way, not all of them. I know there's 4 here, but there's 3 extra. There's just queens chilling doing nothing. This is like 18 supply that is off your max, that is just idle at this point. And you have a Ravager down there, which is another 3 supply that's doing nothing. So that's now 21 supply that's under your max. So realistically, with this fight, if you fight him right now, you're actually fighting with a supply that really looks like 170 versus 174. Because I can accept 3 queens because they're injecting. 3 queens should be injecting. For sure. Okay, now the way you would micro this fight, is you can see the Templar has 1 storm, maybe 2. Okay, that other Templar, he's kind of under the and mana bar was actually under the health bar, so it's kind of hard to see that. But if you move it up, you can see it's bigger. So he actually has 3 storms. He has 3 storms. So baiting out 3 storms would be probably the way I would say you'd want to engage this. And here's how you should do this: spread out your corruptors like this. Before the fight starts, go like this: green box, click, green box, click, engage. So you have a concave. The fact that you're just engaging with a clump is not great. What you would do, while you pre-spread, don't do it during the fight, pre-spread, you would attack a Void Ray. You would allow him to cast Storm. As soon as he storms, you expect it and you immediately, or you're looking for it, you run back. You run away. Get the fuck away from his army. Let this base die. Transfer drones. Whatever. Don't fucking engage Storm. Do not engage Storm. You back off. Let him burn his 3 storms. Because if you're spread out, he's not going to just go 1 storm and that's it. He'll probably burn multiple storms and multiple sets of corruptors because you're spread out really hard. You might kill a Void Ray, back off. If he burns his storms, you then re-engage. You focus fire Voids first, then you focus fire carriers second. This fight is going to be hard for you though, for multiple reasons. Number 1, you have split upgrades. You started going mutas with weapon upgrades, and then you went, nah, you know what? I'm going to go Carapace Corruptor upgrades. Now, I agree. Carapace Corruptor upgrades are better here. They make more sense. But you did it really late, so it's really delayed. Which is why he has level 2 weapons, and you have level 1 Carapace. Which is not ideal for you. Because your Corruptors are actually going to get kind of chewed apart by the carriers a little bit. It's not ideal. The second thing that's not ideal for you is your supply sucks. You haven't even maxed yet with Corruptor now. You don't have enough money to do it because you just threw away 17 fucking mutas and you invested into those things as well. And those mutas didn't really do enough, I would say. That was not really worth the investment of muta. The whole game, especially. But you don't have enough Corruptor right now. Right now, you only have... you have 38 Corruptor. That's actually... I'm not going to lie. That's a bit respectable. That's actually not that bad. That's not that bad. It's not that bad. I would like it to maybe be a little bit higher, but 38 is actually not that bad. If you could be like 45 right now, that'd be fucking great. Like, the more Corruptor, the better, because he's pure Skytoss. So, that would be nice. And the way you'd want to micro this, again, is you bait the storms out. You then back off. You back off. Let the storms go away. You focus fire Voids first, and then you focus fire carriers second. But, again, the fact that you're down by an upgrade sucks ass. This is not good for you when you have negative upgrades to his weapons to your Carapace. That is bad for you. Really hard. 5, let's see this fight. I'm on the edge of my seat. Well, if he doesn't focus fire and he sits in a storm, he's 100% going to lose. And the fact that he's clumped up as well is not boding well for the Zerg right now. Because it means he's going to eat a lot of storm damage.
Get ready, boys. It's going to be nasty.
Let's see. Okay. You might get this about the worst I think you could ever have done it. You just ran into him and you A-moved the ground. You're shooting different things all over the place. Do not ever fucking A-move against carriers. Because I can clearly see this carrier on the right is taking damage. This Void Ray is taking damage. That Void Ray and this carrier have taken damage. These interceptors are dying. You are literally A-moving the ground right now. Which means a lot of his interceptors are going to be what takes damage. Don't ever fucking do that. Don't ever do that against carrier. Remember how I said you're going to lose, like... So you actually have Corruptor, which is ideal, by the way, versus carrier. Your mutas all just died for nothing, really. They killed 3 Templar and died when they all eventually did die. But this fight now, you have 182 supply. He has 166. I actually think you're going to lose this fight if you don't actually target fire shit. And the Protoss will probably live with like 140 plus. And you're going to go down all the way to like 100. Let's see.
Focus fire carrier MHHK.
Now you're focus firing carrier for a second there. Then you're focus firing again. At least you're focus firing now. The way you engaged that initially was terrible. Like, why fly into them and just let it A move? That's the worst. That's like counter micro right there. You want to pick off the carriers as fast as possible. You don't want to, like, let the majority of carriers have maximum uptime. Again, the way I described how you should have microed that is how you should have microed that. Focus fire the voids. Like, bait the storms out with a concave by focus firing a void while spread out. He storms you. You back out of the storm. You get the fuck out of it. And then you just focus fire void, focus fire void, focus fire void, focus fire carrier, focus fire carrier. You would have probably, with that many corruptor, you could have probably beaten this army. I feel like it would have been, you might have won this fight with like maybe less than 10 corruptors left alive. Because the scary thing for you still was the fact that you had down in upgrades. You had 1 carapace upgrade versus his 2 weapon upgrades. That's not ideal. But I do still think you had a better army to win the fight. Because you actually had 38 corruptor versus like 8 carrier. Or 9 carrier. That's still not bad for Zerg overall, numbers wise. It's just your upgrades kind of sucked. But you didn't focus fire for like the first 10 seconds of that fight. And the first, again, remember how, do you remember how I said every second in macro is more important than the next second? Second 1's more important than second 2. Second 2 is more important than second 3 because it sets the pace for the game. Remember how I said that? Guess what, guys? Micro is the exact same thing. When you take a big 200 supply army versus a 200 supply army, like a maxed out versus a maxed out army, the higher the supply is, the more this is relevant. Every second in the fight is more important than the next. So in a big battle, second number 1 is the most important second of that whole fight. Second number 2 is more important than second number 3, but not as important than second number 1, and so on, and so on, and so on, and so on, and so on. So the first 5 seconds are drastically more important than the next 5 seconds that go to second number 10. Because in StarCraft 2, imagine if you had 2 fucking medieval knights fighting each other, but they both had really sharp, long swords, but neither one of them got to wear armor. That's essentially what fucking StarCraft 2 is. If you take any, if you can deal lots of fucking damage to each other, but you're both really shitty at absorbing it. Shit just dies really fast in this game. Actually, an even better example would be, imagine 2 guys on the street, and they both have like Uzis, and they're both shooting each other. It's like, let's see who lasts longer. They just fucking hold the trigger on each other, just like, okay, we're all dead. You kill each other really fast in this game. Units die super quick in StarCraft 2. So if you engage a fight for 5 seconds, really shitty, and then go, alright, now let's micro properly. You've already fucking lost the fight, like, horribly bad. That's not how you want to micro. You want to start off microing well, not micro like shit and then micro okay after. So focus firing is what you need to do from the beginning. Not just die. Cookie Muscle, thank you for the bits. And now you're at a point where it's a snowball effect. You don't have enough and he's just going to run you over. He will literally just keep running you over because he is parade pushing you. He's bringing his units over. So he's going to keep reinforcing and keep killing your shit as it spawns. And keep reinforcing and keep repeating the process. So your build-up was awful for the reasons we described, and your micro in the fight actually came to the point when you had to take the fight. It was awful when you how you started that fight. You just flew into the center of him and A-moved. Because I know the reason why you did that. I already know the reason why you did that. The reason why you did that is because you were like, guess what, motherfucker? I know you got Storm, but are you really willing to use it on yourself? Are you really willing to use Storm on yourself? And I'm going to tell you right now, Storm on a Corruptor is devastating. It does almost 50% of the Corruptor's HP. But Storm on a Carrier, the Carrier is kind of just like the fucking Hulk with bullets. It's like, what? Puny Storm. Me crush Corruptor now. Like, he doesn't give a shit. He doesn't give a fuck if he has to storm his carriers while he's killing your Corruptor.
Yes, that's exactly right, LOLXD.
The reason why this is really bad is because one storm on a carrier, like Storm in general does about like 90 damage, or like more like 80, sorry, 80 damage. It does about 80 damage, okay? 80 fucking damage. A Corruptor has 200 hit points. Okay? And there's 3 corruptors per carrier if we're talking about supply. Which means there's really... A storm is not really doing 80 damage per 6 supply. It's doing 240 damage per 6 supply because it's hitting 3 different units for Zerg. It's hitting 1 unit for Protoss. So 80 versus 240. And then on top of that, a carrier has 450 hit points. It has 80 damage out of 450. That is fucking nothing, really. That is not nearly enough to be like, oh god, I can't storm myself. Like, if you fly into him and he storms himself, he's going to be more than happy to do that to you. You're like, yeah, I'll storm myself, and you'll just lose your corruptors way faster than I'll lose my carrier. Because not only do your units only have 200 hit points, you're taking 3 times the damage I am because you have 3 times the amount of units I have, and storm hits every unit for full damage. It's AoE. It's a horrible idea on how to engage that. Don't do that in the future. But yeah, like I said before, this game is over now because he's just rolling you over with snowball effect at this point. He is recalling to save his base, but who cares? Because your base is just scattered now. You're going full cockroach here. You've already lost the game. There's no recovery here. Yeah, you're dead. So yeah, I mean, your buildup needs improvement, as we talked about. You need to just kind of have a plan, and your plan really should have been, oh, he's gonna go macro. I'm gonna go macro. Like you did go macro, but you didn't really like. Basically, you know what you basically did? It was like, let me give you one more analogy. It was like this. It's like you go, all right, there's a storm coming, and my neighbor is building a house. You know what I'm gonna do? I'm also gonna build a house. And then you go to build a house, and you're like, well, I have nothing to build it with. Like, I have no tools to build my house with, so
I was salty guys, lol.
I'm gonna start like salvaging things around here. I'm gonna like go get some fucking leaves over there, maybe break a tree branch off, and that'll be like my foundation of my house right there. Like what what I mean, what I'm trying to say is you wanted a macro. He played a macro game. You saw him playing a macro game. You tried to play a macro game yourself, and you didn't give yourself the tools to do that because you gave yourself no money, 0 mineral income because you focused heavily on gas and then spending the gas. Like, you went layer fast, and then you actually never did anything with the layer. It just made no sense. It made no sense. You gave yourself no tools to make a macro game work at all. What makes a macro game work, guys? Minerals. I wish I had kids that would just say, like it's like a classroom of children that were like, minerals! 16 out of 16! That's your priority, not fucking gas priority. You had the worst mineral priority ever for the first, like, 6 minutes of this game. It was awful. It was really bad. And that's why you were so far behind the whole time. Over and over and over and over and over and over. You had like 15 larvae, 12 larvae, 15 larvae, 12 larvae. And you're like, well, ViBE, I only have like 150 minerals. But I have like 1,300 gas. Like, yeah, exactly. You could definitely spend your money a lot faster, because the faster you spend your money to make more drones with, the faster you make the money, the faster you can keep spending that larva in the future, and then you can add on gas with no larva hiccups, which means you're paced at a better pace, because you have all your larvae, you're not missing larvae. If I had to guess how much larvae you missed this game before you maxed out, honestly, dude, I would say probably like 200. You probably, like, we could really do the math and figure it out, but I would say you probably missed like 200 larvae. Potentially what you should have been at. Because you maxed out so fucking late. So late. There's a lot of larvae you missed. For real. But yeah, I mean, fix those, like, just, if you just do that simplest thing of all, which is, oh, macro cannon rusher, make 3 Ravagers, stop mining gas. Restart mining gas when I have like 45 to 50 drones again, which means I'm fully saturated on 3 bases. If you just did that, this whole game would have been like, you would have been like, what? This is easy. All the other mistakes you made were bad, but not as bad as that one. That one was devastating. That fucked your whole game over, like, really, really, really hard. Fix that. Fixes a lot of things for you as well. Okay, guys, that's been another replay analysis. Thank you very much for watching. I hope you enjoyed it. I'll see you guys in the next one. Until next time, good luck yourselves. Take it easy. Much love, and goodbye. See you guys.